iHeart, get ready. Fantasy football is here. Welcome to the Scout Fantasy Show. ScoutFantasy.com is home to the Fantasy Football World Championships and the best players in the world. Real money winners giving their secrets to help you win. Now exclusively on iHeart. This is the Scout Fantasy Show with your host, the one, the only, Dr. Roto.
Dr. Roto. Get out the insurance cards. Get out the copay. The office is open, my friends. Before we get started, yes, another conversation about Election Day. I'm not going to tell you who to vote for. That's not my place. My place is to tell you to vote. My place is to tell you that we live in the United States of America, which is a democracy, and we have the chance to vote. So I'll say this to you. I say this to my own Roto children. If you don't vote and the election doesn't come out the way you like, you have nobody to blame but yourself. If you vote and it doesn't come out the way you like, that I can't help you with. But our job is to vote. One man, one woman, one vote. Right? That is the beauty of our country, and I highly hope that you follow my path here. Please vote. And I will say this. I'm so ready to be done. I live in Florida, and I'm ready to be done with these commercials. Let me move on to car commercials. I'm done with election commercials. But right now, I am ready to talk about Monday night's game. I don't know what the officials are smoking in Seattle. I know remember there was a movie, Sleepless in Seattle? This is smoking in Seattle. Because twice now, I've seen visiting teams get absolutely screwed by the refs. First of all, you cannot tell me weeks ago that Julio Jones Roto was not interfered with. The guy was basically hugging him. How they don't call that, I don't know. Second only to last night, which was absolutely in all my times of watching football. And I'm sitting next to Mrs. Roto, and she has no idea what's going on. I'm trying to explain it to her. And even she, who watches football so infrequently, says, why wasn't that a penalty when he hit the kicker? I don't know. How do you not give a roughing the kicker penalty? I don't get it. And then Dan Carpenter tries to play it up and pretends like he's hurt more than he is because he really wasn't that hurt. And then they tell him to go off the field. Then when he goes off the field and comes back a play later after they spike the ball, the clock is running. That play clock run out with they were 10 seconds away from kicking that field goal. Who started that play clock when they did? Then they missed the field goal and they end up losing the game by 6. And there's no doubt in my mind at the end of the game they kick another field goal and they tie it up. So it was absolutely horrific. Now, I'm not a Rex Ryan fan in the least, but I thought he did a great job coaching yesterday. He put his team in position to win, and the refs took that game from them. Absolutely stole it. Stole it. Now, I don't care if there's bad officiating. I can live with bad. This was the worst I've ever seen. And even if you're a Seahawk fan, you can't say anything. You're going to put your head down and just go, whatever happened? I don't know what happened. I didn't see it. I don't know. I missed it. I was getting a beer. Didn't see it. Because if you saw this, there's no way. There is no way. Did I mention no way? There is no way that this is acceptable. I would have fired that whole crew on the spot. This is the NFL. And we as fantasy owners deserve more. By the way, we got more from Tyrod Taylor than I ever thought. 27 for 38, 289 yards, a touchdown, and a pick. 8 carries, 43 yards, and a touchdown. That was a good game. He played well. He played well enough to win for sure. For sure. Robert Woods out of his mind, 10 for 162. Wow. Just wow. LaShawn McCoy, 21 for 85, 4 for 35. He tried his best. He did. He tried his best. But there wasn't a lot of lanes for him. Mike Gillislee, 8 for 32 and a touchdown. 2 receptions. But outside of Woods and McCoy and Taylor, I mean, that offense ran beautifully for those 3 guys. Russell Wilson, pretty good day. 20 for 26, 282 and 2 touchdowns. There was no running game. Kristen Michael, 5 carries, 1 yard, and a touchdown. Are you kidding me? But I got to give it up to Jimmy Graham, who made 2 absolutely amazing catches. 8 for 103 and 2 touchdowns. Just some really beautiful catches there. Very impressive. And Doug Baldwin, 6 for 89. I've said that. When you have Baldwin and Graham, you must get them involved. You must. And they did. They got Baldwin involved early. He did nothing late, but he got involved early. It's good. All right, looking for hidden treasure. That's what we do. This is Hidden Treasure Tuesdays. We're combing the bars. We're combing the clubs, looking for spare change. What can we find? I don't know. Marquise Goodwin? Yeah. CJ Procise, but I'm sure he's gone in your leagues by now. But let's start it out with the Eagles and Giants. I'm combing for hidden for treasure. Paul Perkins. Think you got to get on top of that. Paul Perkins. If Victor Cruz is out, maybe this kid Roger Lewis. I don't know. Maybe. Jarrell Adams, 4 targets, 3 receptions for the Giants. I'm not a Will Tye guy, even though we got 7 targets. How about Bryce Treggs if I'm Coleman? No more Josh Huff. Bryce Treggs had a 58-yard catch. So that tells me that he's their deep threat. Nothing wrong with that. Kenyon Barner. That's another guy we should be looking at. Now remember, Anton Smith out. Done for the year. Doug Martin expected to come back, but Peyton Barber, if he's still out there, he's interesting to me. How about Taylor Gabriel, 5 for 52, and the legitimate 3rd receiver there now for Atlanta? I think that's somebody you need to have on your short list. Pittsburgh, I don't see anybody. In Baltimore, maybe Kenneth Dixon. He got 9 carries, got 2 receptions. He's starting to be more involved. I don't like him this week. I think this is a narrative week with Terrence West going against his old Cleveland Browns. But I'm open to this. I'm open to a West Dixon thing here. All right, for Dallas, no. For Cleveland, nobody that we don't really have. For Jacksonville and Kansas City, Marquise Lee, please. Somebody, please. If he's in there in your league, take him. All right, I mean, we don't know if Allen Hurns is healthy. Tyreek on Fleek Hill looks good. How about Albert Wilson, 3 for 42 and a touchdown? What about Chris Conley? What about if Jeremy Macklin's not? I'm not playing Jeremy Macklin in any league this week. I don't trust him one bit. Not one bit with that injury. That's going to be a game time decision for sure. I want no part of that. For the Jets, Jalen Marshall, he had 59 yards and a touchdown. He's probably their 3rd receiver over Robbie Anderson. You don't even see Sharon Peak in there. So that means Sharon Peak has peaked. He's done. So I think you're looking at Marshall and Marshall and Anderson. Marshall. The law firm of Marshall and Marshall. For Miami, I don't see anybody there, but I can get rid of Kenny Stills. 1 catch. That's just awful. For Minnesota, Laquan Treadwell. He at least got out there. I don't like him. But how about Ronnie Hillman? 7 carries, 30 yards, 1 reception, 32 yards. If McKinnon has lost playing time and Matt Asiata is not very good anymore, maybe Ronnie Hillman's interesting. He brings a little bit more juice to this lineup. A little bit more juice. Carolina and the Rams here. Let's see who's going on here. I don't know. Ted Ginn Jr., I think he's the 2nd receiver now. No more Devin Funchess. Brian Quick, Kenny Britt, obviously they're gone. Lance Kendricks, he's not too bad. By the way, going back to Atlanta and Tampa Bay, how about Austin Hooper, if nobody took him last week? Josh Hill is emerging for sure in New Orleans. He had 4 targets this week. I like this guy. DeJuan Harris, once again, if Carlos Hyde is out, he's a very good play. Mike Davis, not very interesting to me at all. Not at all. For San Diego, if anything should ever happen to Melvin Gordon, Kenneth Farrow is the guy. Derrick Henry's out, I believe, with a calf injury for the next short while for the Titans, so Antonio Andrews is the backup there. If you have DeMarco Murray, he's the guy you want. In terms of receivers, I think Dontrell Inman is a guy that I like for the Chargers. And for Tennessee, Rashard Matthews for sure. Maybe Kendall Wright. I like him. Green Bay, I don't want any part of Don Jackson. I really don't. And I'm not a big fan of Jeff Janis. I think they're not very good. maybe Robert Turbin. I mean, Josh Ferguson has disappeared. So if something's happened to Frank Gore, Robert Turbin is the legitimate guy there. I think the guy who's going to go for a lot of money this week is Capri Bibbs. I mean, he had one really sensational play. He was on the field a lot, but I don't know what I think about this guy. I'm not impressed. Jalen Richard, if he was cut, I certainly like him. And Seth Roberts has been getting a ton of catches there. So let me see if I can come up with a couple more players here for you. I really just, I don't know how I feel. Not a lot of great talent here. Jay Cutler, if we didn't add him, let's talk Jay Cutler. Certainly Colin Kaepernick, if he's out there, you'd want to get a part of that. R. Kelly, I believe I can run. I believe I can get this job. I mean, Matt Jones still not 100%. Just saying. Dion Lewis might be out there in some leagues. He's certainly a guy I would absolutely look at. I mean, Booker played a lot of snaps there, so getting back to Capri Bibbs, I like him, but please don't go crazy with Capri Bibbs. I just, that's a really interesting name there. I think it's a good porn name, Capri Bibbs. Just saying, just throwing that out there. Maybe Chris Ivory, if he was dropped. I know I dropped him in the league. He might be interesting. How about Thomas Rawls? This is a guy who might be out there in your league if somebody dropped him. He's due back soon in a couple of 2-3 weeks. I know I mentioned Damian Williams before. If Ajayi's hurt, Damian Williams, boom, he becomes very, very interesting to me. Very interesting to me. Same thing with Wendell Smallwood. I don't know if Darren Sproles can do it. If Darren Sproles can't handle it for the next 5-6 weeks, what about Wendell Smallwood? What about him? I like him. All right, let's see who else. I told you Robert Turbin. I told you Kenneth Farrow. Keep your eyes on the Farrow. All right. J.J. Nelson. He's a guy that you know that he's going to be started by Michael Floyd. Hello, J.J. Nelson. I mentioned Marquise Lee. How about Eli Rogers if he was dropped? Joel Green Beckham. I mean, maybe he will eventually emerge. Robert Woods, for sure. We like him. He had a great day. Great day. I mentioned Ted Ginn. How about Tyler Boyd as the season moves on? I like him. Percy Harvin. Percy Harvin might be a guy that I'd be interested with. I don't know. I'm reaching here. They're not names I really love here. I mentioned Austin Cooper. I mentioned Les Kendricks. Virgil Green. How about Virgil Green? He didn't have the game that I thought he'd have, but he had 4 targets. And on that team, it's like the third most. So you have Thomas Sanders and Virgil Green. So I think that's a name. And speaking of Green, how about Ladarius Green? He's due back soon. Could be week 10, could be a little bit before. Not exactly sure, but that's where it's going to be. All right? So it's pretty much of a mess. We'll examine certain players more in depth on the waiver wire, and we'll certainly talk about how much to spend. But here we are moving into a very critical time of games, of matches here. So I need you guys, and I need to do this as well. You need to get in there and see how far away you are. So are you 1 game out? So I'm in one league. I'm at 5-4. 6-3 is winning. We're 1 game out. So there's things you've got to do. So when you do your ad drops, know how aggressive we're ready to be. But remember this, ad drops only have a few more weeks. So I want to be aggressive, but I don't want to be crazy. I want to be smart. Right? I want to be smart. And I want to know my bye weeks. So let's talk about that again. This week's schedule, week 10, okay? You're losing Buffalo, which is Tyrod Taylor and McCoy. You're losing, and Robert Woods. You're losing Detroit, Matthew Stafford, Theo Riddick, Ebron, Bolden, Tate, Jones, Indianapolis, Luck, Gore, Moncrief, Doyle, T.Y. Hilton, and Oakland, Cooper, Crabtree, Carr, Murray. This is a tough week. These are some good players I'm mentioning. So see where you are in the standings. How close are you? Can you make a run? Look, if you're 3-6 and first place is 6-3, you're still in it. I'm in a league where we're 8-1. You know, we have a 2-game cushion. Are we going to win it? I'm hoping so. Right? But if you're 2-7, you're probably done. But, also look at the points. See, that's the beautiful thing about Scout Fantasy. So I'm looking at this league here where we're 8-1, yeah? And there's a guy who's at 1,485 points. He has 140 points more than us, and he's 3 games out. So he's definitely going to win some money there. And we're going to win some money if we can just win a couple more games. So we'll win the best record. This guy will win the points, and we'll get to the dance. But my point being is there's a team at 2-7 that has 1,271 points. They're only, let's see, maybe about 50 points out? They're only 50 points out of making the playoffs. 50 points out with 4 weeks to go? Are you kidding me? You can catch that. You can catch that. So don't just look at your record and say, oh, I think it's done. I don't think I can do it. I'm in one league here. We're 4-5, but we're number 3 in the league in points. We're 41 points out of first. I think we got a good shot to get it. I do. So what does that tell me? We're a good team who's been unlucky. We're a good team who's been unlucky. I just need the guy in first not to dominate the league. Seriously, I need him not dominating the league. If he doesn't dominate, if we can get somebody else up there with points, we will be just fine. So we have our work cut out for us. But 40 points in 4 weeks, I think we can get it. Bye weeks are tough. That's why you guys have to be on the waiver wire. Right? This is critical here. This is winning time. This is winning time in Scout Fantasy and the main event and the online championships. It is. Look, I'm just throwing it out there. It is winning time. So don't worry necessarily about the record. Worry about the score. I will tell you this right now in my Beat Dr. Roto League. I am at 4-5 in my Vegas League. Who's winning the league in points? Dr. Roto. I've been unlucky. I lost this week by like 3 points. Seriously. I lost this week, week 9. I lost 159 to 156.65. Are you kidding me? But I'm winning the league in points, and that's the goal. So it's not done. And I'll tell you this straight up. I can't remember. It was like 2 years ago with my friend Chad and a couple other guys. My record was like, 3-10, but I ended up winning the league because I had to bet most points. So I was just unlucky that year, but I ended up winning the league because it's about points. That's why you want to be in a league that respects points. That's why I love Scout Fantasy. That's why I love the online championship. That's why I love the main event, and that's why I encourage you to play in it. I do. So right now, what I want you to do is put away your insurance cards, put away the copay. The office is closed, my friends. Want to thank you guys for listening in. And of course, I want you guys to be members of Scout Fantasy. Go to scoutfantasy.com, enter the promo code ROTO. That's ROTO. You pay for 1 month, you get 2 more for free. We'll hook you up through the end of this football season. We can win this, guys. We can get there. If you're 50 points out, you're not that far. You're 100? All right, maybe you were. This is a tough one. We got to get you through it, and we will. All right? So stay with us here at Scout Fantasy. Keep listening to the podcast. Keep on the website. Keep checking out our members' forums. Keep asking questions. Do your thing, and success will happen. All right, I wish you a great day. Be well, and take care.
Thanks for listening to the Scout Fantasy Show. There's never been a better time to join the Scout Army. Visit scoutfantasy.com. Use the promo ROTO for 2 months free. And don't forget, fantasy players, please thumbs up the podcast on the iHeart app. See you next time. Go Scouts!